Hey everyone, welcome back to the engineering video website. This is now the 5th video, and I bet you guys are getting really excited. High school is winding down, and I'm sure you're thinking about what your life in university is really going to be like. So this video is going to focus primarily on the adjustments that you're going to have to make when you go from high school to university. And so as I mentioned in the first video, I'm originally from Calgary, Alberta, which means I essentially moved halfway across the country to go to university without my family and without the majority of my friends. I did actually know 4 people who came to the U of T, one of whom is at the Scarborough campus, and the 3 others are in the arts and science program, so they're not in any of my classes. So I was really concerned because I didn't really know anybody here in engineering at the U of T. But one of the best things about coming to university is that everybody here wants to make friends. They want to meet new people. It's not like high school where the same people hang out with the same people every single day and they only interact with that small group. Here at university, you get more of a mix and you meet people who are much more willing to meet new people and meet new friends. And something that's kind of cool is that the U of T actually accepts about 20% of their applicants from outside of Ontario, which means that there are a lot of people coming here who probably don't know anybody and who are just as scared as you are. And that's one of the things that makes first year so much fun, is you just get to meet all these people who don't really know anyone and you become friends with them. And this is something that is really, really fun and probably one of the best experiences of first year. Another big adjustment that you're probably not going to have to make because you're probably looking into being an engineering student, but you're going to see other people make, is the transition from not really caring about marks, just doing enough to get by, to really studying and really wanting to learn. Here in engineering, the majority of people want to learn. They want to get ready to go into the workforce or to go to graduate school or to go into research fields. And that environment is really, really good because when you're surrounded by people who want to learn, who are curious about the world, it makes you interested in those things as well. And that will help you expand yourself as a person. Another adjustment is the fact that you're going to have to get used to not seeing your family every day or for the same amount of time that you probably did in high school. As I mentioned in the first video, one of the reasons I wanted to come to the U of T was to get out on my own and sort of break away from my parents. And while that is true, that doesn't mean that the transition was any easier. Around Thanksgiving, when all of my roommates went home and a lot of people went home, I actually stayed at the university and I sort of got a little homesick then. And that was probably the first time I was feeling really homesick. And just so you know, it does get better, you get used to it. And with that in mind, it's really important that you stay connected with your parents. Something that a lot of students do in university is they Skype with their parents. It's really nice. It's better than talking on a cell phone because you actually get to see your parents. And it's also free, so you're not going to use up all your cell phone minutes just by talking to your parents. And if you are really worried about making this transition, there are a few things you can do to make it a little less worrisome. If you want to be really cool and be like me, you can get some awesome posters for your room. Something that I know a lot of students do is they bring a favorite recipe from home and they make that whenever they're feeling a little homesick. And of course you can always bring various knickknacks, maybe like a stuffed animal or pictures with you and your friends and your family. And those can be really nice to look at when you're feeling a little homesick. And something else you can do, and it's something I've done, is keep up some of the routines that you did in high school. For example, all throughout high school, I always read before I went to bed, and that's something that I do now, and it sort of helps me calm down, and it, in a weird way, makes me feel like I'm more at home because it's something that I always did when I was at home. One of the biggest transitions I'm sure you're worried about is how to study for your final exams. If you're concerned about this, there are some tips I can give you. For example, I would recommend studying about 1 to 2 weeks before your exam. You might need to do a little more or a little less depending on who you are, but that's sort of the time frame that works for me and for the majority of my friends. Also, you can attend facilitated study groups, or FSGs, which are led by upper years in the engineering science program, and those can be extremely helpful because you can bring up questions that maybe never got answered in class or never got answered in a tutorial, and they can take the time and go through with you the steps to solving a problem or clarifying concepts. And also, because these students are upper years, they've written the exams that you're about to write, and they can tell you what to expect and give you some hints and tips on writing the exams. And here in engineering at the U of T, there are some websites that have past final exams and past midterms, some with solutions. And these are probably the best resource to study because the midterm and final exam formats are typically kept the same year to year, and some teachers even reuse midterm questions or questions that are extremely similar to past midterms. And if you've done the test and you really understand it, it's really, really difficult to get a bad mark on that particular test. So I hope I've outlined some of the biggest adjustments that you're going to have to make when you come to university, and given you some guidance as to how to make those adjustments as smooth and stress-free as possible. So check back to the website soon. I will be giving you my final piece of advice and my best experience so far this year. So take it easy and relax. I'm sure you're looking forward to the end of high school and the beginning of university, as you should be.